On a night of wintry fog, the rune of death was stolen. And the demigods began to fall. Starting with Godwyn the Golden. Queen Marika was driven to the brink.
It happened during the golden age of the Erdtree, long before the shattering of the Elden Ring. Someone stole a fragment of the rune of death from Malekith, the Black Blade, and on a bitter night murdered Godwyn the Golden. That was the first recorded death of a demigod in all history.
This death did not lead to a simple decay, but to a state where one lives in death. Denied a place under the Erdtree's nurturing light, they became beings trapped between life and death, forsaken by divine grace. Yet, for those unable to be guided by the Erdtree, fear sought to fill that void.
I wish to be a mother to those who live in death.
Her embrace was more than a simple act of comfort. It mirrored the warmth the Erdtree had once extended to all living things. Warming Stone uses FP to generate warmth, continuously restoring the HP of those nearby. It's said that the Erdtree was once as warm as the gentle sun, and would gradually heal all who bathed in its rays. The Erdtree stands as the heart of the lands between, a golden beacon whose radiant light offers warmth, guidance, and purpose. It embodies the highest ideal, illuminating the path of grace for all who follows its teachings. In Corrin's words,
"The Erdtree, heart of the Golden Order, lies before our very eyes."
the Erdtree is not merely a tree, for it houses a metaphysical force, the Elden Ring. Its light nurtures life, much like the gentle rays of the sun, sustaining and guiding both the land, its people, and guiding the soul upon death.
I'm sorry, I cannot give you your proper rights, but at least you did not join those who live in death. Your soul will return to the Erdtree in time. Honeyed rays of gold, deliver this spirit.
Just as the Erdtree once healed and guided those who bathed in its golden rays, fear became a beacon for those who live in death. Deathbed dress. Extremely thin and sheer white dress worn by the deathbed companion as she embraces the dead. Slowly replenishes the HP of nearby allies, but not the wearer. The touch of the fabric is exceedingly soft, so as to not harm even the most withered corpse, while still sharing her warmth. In offering this warmth, fear has stepped into the role the Erdtree no longer could fill for those who live in death, a role as a guiding light which grants warmth akin to a mother. Her warmth acts as a guiding light to those who live in death, paralleling the warmth of the Erdtree and its warming stones.
After I received the warmth and lively vigor from a number of champions, I lay with the remains of an exalted noble, to grant him another chance at life.
Through this line of dialogue, the connection between light and warmth as a form of guidance is further reinforced. Fear receiving our warmth can be understood as taking some of our inner light to be used as a beacon for those who live in death, a light akin to the Erdtree's grace. This light is one those who live in death use to pass on and to put an end to the pain of their existence. Baldachin's blessing, favor bestowed by a deathbed companion, protection of a hidden temple in the guise of a bedchamber. This favor allows one to forget the aches and pains. In death, there is only peace, for in death there can be no sensation.
This is the other Hallowbrand. How did you... Oh, my utmost thanks. With this, Godwyn can take his rightful place as first of the dead and claim a second, illustrious life.
Godwyn is reborn as the mending rune of the Death Prince, which when placed into the Elden Ring will usher in an age where the persecution of those living death has been stayed. With the end of the persecution of those living death, they can be embraced and granted warmth, allowing them to pass on. The mending rune of the Death Prince, it will embed the principle of life within death into the Order. The Golden Order was created by confining destined death. Thus, this new order will be one of death restored. Godwyn, the source of death root, that of which can bring rise to those who live in death. His appearance and motifs are not new to this world, for Godwyn parallels Glaucus, the sea god from Plato's The Republic. Thus far, we have spoken the truth concerning her, as she appears at the present, but we must remember also that we have seen her only a condition which may be compared to that of the sea god Glaucus, whose original image can hardly be discerned, because his natural members are broken off and crushed and damaged by the waves in all sorts of ways, and incrustations have grown over them of seaweed and shells and the stones, so that he is more like a monster than he is his own natural form, and the soul, which we behold in a similar condition, disfigured by 10,000 ills. This passage uses the metaphor of the sea god Glaucus to illustrate how the soul, in its present condition, has been disfigured and obscured by their countless external influences and hardships. Just as Glaucus's true form is hidden beneath damage and incrustation from the sea, the soul's true essence is distorted by the 10,000 ills of life, such as desire, suffering, and worldly distractions. Interestingly, the soul is referred to using feminine pronouns, reinforcing its association with life, creation, and nurturing. This aligns with ancient Greek symbolism, where the word psyche meant both soul and butterfly. Like a butterfly undergoing metamorphosis, the soul's journey is one of transformation, hidden within a chrysalis of worldly corruption, but always holding the potential to emerge in its true and beautiful form. The metaphor of Glaucus, the divine shape is obscured by the incrustations of stone and seaweed, mirrors this idea. Despite the damage inflicted by life's waves, there is still a divine ideal form waiting to be revealed beneath the surface.
Brandish my rune, and take for yourself the throne. Stay the persecution of those who live in death by becoming our Elden Lord.
But the narrative significance of those who live in death doesn't end here. Their obscured or absent souls prevent them not only from moving toward the light and passing on, but also from advancing toward the light of enlightenment. Consider the Euphoria. Twin blades symbolizing abundance, the secret treasure of the tower. Though the blades fashioned from golden shoots are largely wilted and darkened, their luster can be restored by dealing damage to foes. However, damage dealt to those who live in death will have no such effect. Just as we know the light of the Erdtree is what grants us life,
and one other, whom grace would again bless, a tarnished of no renown. Cross the fog to the lands between, to stand before the Elden Ring and become...
we are told that upon death souls are meant to return to the Erdtree.
Your soul will return to the Erdtree in time.
Since the Euphoria has no effect on those who live in death, it becomes clear that the light which sustains life, the light that guides the soul beyond death, and the light of enlightenment are one and the same. In Elden Ring, death isn't just an inevitable fate. It is a canvas for meaning and legacy. The Lands Between presents a world where dying is as important as living fully. Glory in death becomes not a tragedy, but the ultimate offering. This philosophy is vividly symbolized by the two ancient talismans, the red-feathered and the blue-feathered bronze swords. A talisman adorned with red feathers, once used in ancient death rituals, raise attack power when HP is low. The heart sings when one draws close to death, and a glorious end awaits those who cling so tenaciously to life. The red-feathered bronze sword enables a warrior to release a fierce defiance as their life ebbs, ensuring that their death is a spectacle of fierce defiance. In contrast, its twin counterpart, the blue-feathered bronze sword, embodies patience and preservation. A talisman adorned with blue feathers, once used in ancient death rituals, raises defense when HP is low. The heart sings when one draws close to death, and thus does one cling so tenaciously to life to render up a death worth offering. Both talismans speak to the same idea, that death, when handled properly, is glorious. The red feather symbolizes delivering a powerful final blow before falling, while the blue feather represents hanging on long enough to secure that perfect ending, a death worthy of offering to the gods. This duality comes together in the twin bird kite shield, a relic believed to channel the power of an ancient envoy of death. Shield featuring a vividly painted twin bird, the twin bird is said to be the envoy of an outer god and mother of the death birds. At dwindling levels of HP, this shield slightly boosts attack and defense. The twin bird itself embodies the balance of offense and defense, offering the wielder tools to endure and retaliate until their final breath. This shield doesn't split the dead into two categories. Instead, it embodies the same unified ideal of glory, a perfect death met with fierce determination. The Highland set echoes this philosophy, with blue garments representing warriors on the hunt and red signifying those who claim the glory. In a sense, it reflects the journey every warrior aspires to complete, from endurance to the final blow of triumph. These symbols together form a cohesive understanding of what death means in the Lands Between. Not something to be feared, but a ritualized path towards transcendence, a final offering worthy of remembrance. The Healthen steeple reinforces this warrior's ethos surrounding death, greatsword patterned after the black steeple of the Healthen, the lampwood which guides the dead of the spirit world. The lamplight is similar to grace in appearance, only it is said that it can only be seen by those who have met their death in battle. The lamplight it emits is reminiscent of grace, a guiding beacon, but one reserved for those who met their death in battle. Just as grace guides the living toward purpose and the dead towards the light, this sacred lamplight leads the fallen warriors to their destined glory, signifying that even in death there is a path illuminated for those who cling tenaciously to life in combat. But what happens when one clings too tightly to life, unable to let go? Ensha, wielder of the clinging bone, embodies this dilemma. The weapon itself is crafted from the hardened skeletal arm, fitted so that its bony fist digs into the wielder's hand. The description reads, "O clinging creature, a king relinquishes not the hand, enters mastery of the lifesteal fist, a technique that siphons the vitality of others, speak to this desperation to grasp to life, even when it has slipped beyond death." The ghost flame dragons mirror the same defiance. These fallen beasts described as having such vivacity that even in death they could not fully die, haunt the boundary between life and death. Both Ensha and the ghost flame dragons share kinship. By clinging too tightly to life, they become prisoners of an existence that they can neither fully possess nor relinquish. Just as those who live in death cannot pass on by themselves, even if Ensha wanted to pass on, he couldn't. When you find yourself on your deathbed, clinging to life because of earthly ties or the fear of the unknown, fear is there to offer you warmth that serves as a guiding light, gently ushering you toward acceptance. But death isn't always a quiet passage into oblivion. For some, it is a final injustice, a violent rupture that leaves behind more than mere decay. Rykard's Rancor. The terrible power of Rykard, Lord of Blasphemy, summons searing spirits that leave a trail of delayed explosion in their wake. These spirits manifest from the rancor of heroes who met a violent end. The Lord granted them an audience whereupon they were welcomed by the maw of the great serpent, and within the serpent's bowels they became the Lord's kin. The searing spirits summoned by Rykard's Rancor are not mere random apparitions. They are the anguished echoes of heroes who have met their brutal ends. Their emergence is fueled by a deep, unyielding resentment, a tragic inability to relinquish the agony and betrayal of their violent deaths. The horror of being not only betrayed, but also devoured by a vile and repulsive serpent intensifies this moment. This same despair echoes in the desperate pleas of a ghostly noble in Castle Morn. Instead of gently being ushered back to the light, they are trapped in a state of perpetual unrest. Their lingering bitterness transforms into a burning energy, ensuring that every explosion of their spectral trail is imbued with the raw, unhealed pain of a life cut short by unjust means. Fortisac serves as a potent emblem of unresolved grief and the dangerous consequences of clinging too tightly to loss. Fortisac's remembrance reads, "After Godwyn the Golden became the Prince of Death, the ancient dragon fought long and hard against the death within its companion. Alas, victory was never achieved, and its only reward was corruption. After Godwyn the Golden is assassinated, Fortisac, the ancient dragon, fought relentlessly against the death that had seeped within its fallen companion. Its struggle, however, was ultimately in vain. Instead of overcoming this death, he was corrupted by it. This narrative reflects the idea that when you refuse to let go of the death of a friend, even the strongest resolve can be consumed by it. By holding on, Fortisac's noble battle against the inevitable transforms into a curse. Rather than preserving its friend's memory through healing and acceptance, its refusal to release that bond leads to its own decay. In this way, Fortisac encapsulates the theme of not letting go, demonstrates that clinging to a painful loss can twist what was once a pure, protective force into something destructive. His corruption becomes a dire warning. In the struggle to keep a friend's memory alive, the very essence of life and self can be tainted, reminding us that there is wisdom to both fighting for life and knowing when to let go. Cling on to life like your life depends on it, but know when to let go and move on. Whether it's you learning to move forward after a loss, or gracefully and stoically embracing your own passing. In this delicate balance, we learn that cherishing every breath means not only fighting for our existence, but also understanding that every ending holds the seeds for a new beginning. And just as the light of the Erdtree nurtures life, the same radiant glow illuminates the path of enlightenment and guides our souls beyond death. In seeking this light, we honor the virtuous pursuit of both living fully and transcending with grace. A unity where the light that inspires our mortal journey is inseparable from the light that beckons us towards our ultimate transcendent passing. Thank you for watching the video. Hit the subscribe button, like and comment.